Good evening, good evening, good evening, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk, where your sister Keisha, your brother Tad, and your brother Ashe SJ will be joining us shortly, along with our weekly correspondents. Brother Blacksmith and Sister Marcia will be on the check in as well. Good to be black again with you all. Happy to be black. I hope all of y'all are doing well in the best of health, mentally, spiritually, physically, and financially. I hope that each and every one of you are in a positive, in the black position as we get ready for tonight's Thorough Black Talk Worldview broadcast. We were off for a few weeks, took a mid season break. Now we are back in full effect. A lot has happened since we were last off. A lot has taken place. You know, we're going to get into it all, including the lockdown of polite. I can't wait till Brother Tag get in here. We about to go in. We about to go in because we talked about these things years ago, but we were pushed to the side, called troublemakers and a whole lot of other things. But we'll discuss it all tonight. I'm gonna wait for my brother Tad to get in. He's working things out in the background and will be with us soon, soon, soon. Also, um, the recent case involving Judge Glenda Hatchett. We're going to discuss that as well, along with what's happening with the case in Mississippi involving two black men who were beaten and sexually assaulted by Braxton County, Mississippi police. So we'll discuss that as well. Also, some other things that have been happening in the news. The migrant crisis continues to rise, but everybody is in an uproar about it. And as I said before, you have to blame yourselves. The voters have to blame themselves because you elected these politicians to speak on your behalf, to act on your behalf, to advocate on your behalf, and they are not doing you justice. So it's time to vacate the vote. I hope that the message is catching on. In fact, I know that it is, which is why you have such an influx of migrants into the United States anyway, because as I said, over the past 7 years, voter registration and voter participation has been on the decline in this country. And so the two major political parties have taken notice, and they want to um, save themselves if they can. But it's up to you to fight back and say no. Those persons who are not citizens of the country, of the state, of the municipalities in which you reside aren't citizens and they should not be allowed to vote. And you have to speak out against that because, you know, it's a whole lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. So we'll talk about that as well. Also, the shooting that took place while we were off in Jacksonville, Florida, right after the Montgomery, Alabama brawl. So, now you had, as we said here before many times, white supremacy never takes a day off. It invests in itself daily and it advocates for itself daily and it will retaliate daily. And we have to understand that the fundamentals of warfare, oftentimes we don't understand that. I hear people saying, a lot, we at war, but are we at war? Are we at war? And if so, who are we warring with? When you're in a war or in a battle, you have to have two opposing sides um, who are in opposition of each other. But you have to look at our plight here in this country. And of course, we'll tackle that as well. We're going to let my brother Tag get set up on the background. And then Sister Marcia will be in here and Brother Blacksmith on the check-in. I know he has a lot to discuss. Have y'all seen the alien bodies that the country of Mexico have put on display that they said that they have had in their possession, I believe, since the 1930s. But if not, we will show that a little bit later as well. Also, another NBA player um, met his demise after allegedly having a vaccination. But we don't know the particulars, but I can speculate based on the information that has been provided to me and to us for that matter. So we'll get into that as well. Um, we as a community have to do better when it comes to protecting our seniors. We are falling by the wayside. There were various communities around the country that have taken up the mantra of self preservation and self protection, like they doing out in Detroit and in Texas and in various other places, patrolling the neighborhoods. Because right now, with the influx of migrants, with the rise of drug abuse, with the rise of mental illness here in this country, we gotta, take that into account as our seniors move throughout these municipalities. And we're going to show a video that went viral, I believe, last week of a senior being beaten in a subway station here in New York City, and no one coming to her aid. So we'll deal with that and a whole lot of other stuff. I think my brother Tad is ready. He giving me the thumbs up. So yeah, brother Tad on the check-in. How you doing, brother Tad? What's good with you? It's been a minute.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm glad to be black and I'm glad to be back. I'm feeling blessed and highly favored. Says I'm real excited to be back, but yeah, the reminder of the video kind of just quickly threw me in a mental slump because I wish I was there so I could beat on dude. All this aggression and anger that I have pent up, because on the day-to-day living, especially in New York, the traffic, dealing with coworkers, just dealing with everyday people, it gets very frustrating. And sometimes you need an outlet. And for me, the gym is not enough. Sometimes you just need to catch one of these lunatics in the act, violating somebody. Though I wish that wasn't the case of someone getting violated, but nonetheless, this is the world we live in. But other than that, I'm
Yeah.
feeling great. I'm feeling real good.
I know you've been to some concerts this summer. You've been to some
Oh,
events.
yeah.
We got to talk about when we been this summer. We was outside.
Outside for real. We was biking outside. We was outside. Biking, hiking, everything. All of that.
For real. What's some of the shows you went? I mean, 50th anniversary of hip hop. I know you went to some shows. Check out some things. Let the people know where you've been at this summer.
My favorite one, well, I ain't got no favorite no more. But two of the most memorable ones was the 50th hip hop in Brooklyn. The city is doing a 5-borough series where they were doing hip hop concerts in each borough. Actually, block parties as they were calling them, but they were shutting off few blocks. And one of them was literally on my block, like literally, which was a blessing. Shout out to my cousin Mook and DJ Enough. They had blessed me with the VIP pass, so I could chill backstage. Got to kick it with Buckshot Shorty of Smith and Wesson. Got to kick it with Dead Prez, the Jungle Brothers, who is one of my favorite groups of all time. And I'm not gonna delve into Baby Africa Bambaataa being Baby Africa Bambaataa, but nonetheless, I appreciate them for the music. I got to kick it with Master Ace and Lachey, the singer Lachey. Who else? I got to kick it with MC Milk D. Who else? Like I don't got to really kick it and bond with so many people. Plus the everyday, day-to-day people that rock with us on Thorough Black Talk. Just people that I grew up with in the community. And then my sister gave me an invitation to Lincoln Center to go see two of the greatest MCs of all time, Big Daddy Kane and the God MC Rakim. That was super dope. So I was just like, yeah. Oh, shout out to Smith and Wesson. Can't forget Tech and Steel. Can't forget Tech and Steel. They were in the building. They were definitely in the building. I mean, it was beautiful. That was the two other memorable shows of the Hip Hop 50 that I went to. I knew there was something else, but I ain't gonna lie to you, sis. I was getting hip hopped out. The Prince and Michael Jackson block party in Fort Greene Park, the same day as Fort Greene Day, which was turned up, which was lit. Myrtle Avenue was on fire. I
I
put a
don't know.
little bit.
I think it looked like it took you a half an hour just to get a block up Myrtle Ave.
Yeah, and I wasn't mad at all. I put a little bit of that on Instagram. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. There was some that I end up declining. The one at Yankee Stadium, I was invited there. Staten Island, I declined that one. There was so many, sis. I was hip hop 50 up and out. And like I said, there were some others that I can't think of right now because we was literally outside enjoying all the festivities, to grow up in this culture and see where it went. Because Sister Keisha, you and I were there from the inception before hip hop was 10 years old. It was our culture. When you didn't hear it on the radio, you literally had to be outside to get your dose of hip hop. Somebody was walking by, not driving by, walking by with the boombox, playing a tape of a party they was at the night before or whatever. That's how you heard the new songs. That's how you heard the new records. You heard it in the hood. It wasn't on the radio. It wasn't on TV. It wasn't on commercials like it is now. Oh, yeah. That Big Daddy Kane right there at Lincoln Center. And shout out to my man, DJ Fly Ty, also known as Mr. Life of the Party. He rocked the Lincoln Center too a couple of weeks ago. 20,000. And he's definitely one of my favorite DJs. He's a man of many talents. And
Yes, shout out to Fly Tie.
Yeah, I love to see how people get their recognition. So for him to play at Lincoln Center was real big. And not only did he play, but he rocked it. And he rocked the Labor Day parade too. Word, he had a truck out there. So definitely shout out to my brother Fly Ty, also known as Mr. Life of the Party. Yes, that's Myrtle Avenue right there.
Streets was shut down. We was coming from Ebbets Field because there was a basketball game and hip hop show and everything out there in Ebbets Field. So I was out there with the family, big barbecue and everything. So we come back up this way, and I'm like, oh snap, Tad is over there somewhere. But I wasn't even gonna try to find you in that crowd.
Yeah, Myrtle Avenue was crazy that night. And I think that was like my third or fourth time coming through Myrtle. Because, we went to Hardee's, got some shrimp, went to the liquor store over there. Don't judge me. Word, we sat outside, enjoyed the festivities, This is the Brooklyn that we know and love, Prior to what media may have you believe about the violence in our community, this is what the 80s and 90s looked like. Though there was violence, there's violence everywhere. You turn on television, there's violence in suburban America, there's violence overseas. But they choose to highlight that in our community. Seldom do they show the love and the family gatherings, the people who haven't seen each other and connect for so long. That's the beauty of growing up in the hood. That's the beauty of Brooklyn.
That's what's up. And also you had the Universal Hip Hop Day Parade um, on during Marcus Garvey's birthday. That was up Marcus Garvey Boulevard, and then they turned down Fulton Street towards Nostrand. I was there for that event. Shout out to brother Kazimbe Bats and the Universal Hip Hop Day Parade. You had some legendary DJs who were out there playing. I was the only black media outlet out there covering it. Of course, putting it all together. We'll show that for y'all next week. But I got some interviews from people from the nation, various organizations. And believe it or not, Tab, people were watching Thorough Black Talk. I'm like, yo, I'm walking down the street and I stopped by Brother Tyrone's store over there. Shout out to Brother Ty. Talking to him for a minute. And people was like, yo, Thorough Black Talk, Thorough Black Talk. So I got some interviews. So we'll put that all together and show you guys that next week. I was a little bit too busy this week to get it done, but definitely that. Like I said, I've spent some time down in Nashville, came back up here again. Like you said, they had the Prince and Michael Jackson concert. Shout out to Spike Lee doing that every year in Fort Greene Park. If you don't know, now you know. That's the place to be every summer. It goes down, it goes down, it goes down. Also, They had so many, as Brother Taz said, various block parties with shows going on throughout the city. So I hope you all were able to celebrate hip hop um, and all that it brings to us and to the culture. I said this many times before, as well as my brother Tad, that we have to take control of our culture. We can no longer let people dictate what is good for us and good to us and force feed us what we don't want. So, we got to push back against that. I spent a lot of these weeks we had off with a lot of family cookouts, barbecues, birthday parties, all kind of stuff. So you got to get out there, and you got to embrace the family. One of the reasons why, brother Tad, and then we'll get into. I'm trying to wait for Sister Marcia to get in here with brother Polite. We'll give her another 10 minutes, but it is the family that establishes a code of conduct for you, right? And that family code of conduct is what you take out into the world, right? And how you and your friends or associates interact with one another based on that code. And a few years ago, Brother Tad and myself, with Brother King Simon, and shout out to King Simon. Um,
Yes,
he got Baba Ashwa Akwasi and Miriam Akwasi coming in here on the 24th, I
yes.
believe, or the
The 23rd,
23rd. The
the 20,
23rd.
the
Yes, and we'll pull up that flyer in a minute, family. Just give me a few seconds. If you want to see Baba Kwasi, you want to get your tickets now, while they're still available, while there's still some available, um, to be there with us on the 23rd. I'm going to actually pull it up so you guys can see it, and you can scan it right on your screen and get your tickets. We will be in the building. I know I will, in full effect.
yes, I will.
There you go. So Thorough Black Talk Team will be in full effect for this one, family. So you want to be there. Here we go, right here. Ashwa and Miriam Akwasi will be in Brooklyn, in Brooklyn, in Brooklyn, in Brooklyn. Please, please remember that. In Brooklyn, in Brooklyn. Get your tickets. The information is right here on the screen, 958 Halsey Street. Shout out to Plant Based Brooklyn
Yes,
for some good plant-based food. Stop by 958 Halsey Street in Brooklyn. They are open Friday, Saturday, Sundays, and Monday, I believe. But you can definitely get some good food, and I'm looking forward to seeing the plant-based Kinship family at that event as well. So definitely looking forward, because I think the last time we seen Baba Kwasi is when we was in Atlanta, right, Ty?
no, he been up since then. He was, in fact, I don't know. I don't know if it was Atlanta or the last time he was in Brooklyn. It was when he was in Brooklyn.
Okay.
It was his last lecture in Brooklyn, because
Okay.
I believe that was right before COVID.
Okay.
Yes,
Gotcha.
the end of 2019.
That's what's up. So I'm looking forward to seeing them.
Did have a good powwow in Atlanta too.
Yes, we
He was
did.
off the records, and I tell you,
You just had to be there.
yeah, you just because it wasn't about Black history, it's about life experiences and just things that we go through as regular people. Sis, sometimes we do the work and people think all we talk about 24/7 is politics, politics, politics. They don't know sometimes we just talk about life as Black folks. And as Black folks, you ain't got to say because we Black. We just know there's an unwritten code in the language that we speak amongst one another, you know? So it's just good to be around each other, and especially sit at the feet of the elders and really get that real wisdom. You know, listen to Baba Kwasi tell us funny stories about Africa and just his travels and growing up. You know,
Yep. And all the shenanigans that he had to go through.
yes,
It was a good night. It was a good night, and we learned a lot. So we definitely, literally sat at his foot,
yes,
and
literally.
literally was sitting at his feet, getting that info. So want to give some quick shout outs real quick as my brother Blacksmith gets himself together. I see him in the background getting it all together. We'll bring him in a minute. Shout out to Aunt Marie. Aunt Marie was over here last week. We had a little birthday party for my grandson Pharaoh. So Aunt Marie was over here. Shout out to Sister Donna. Yeah. Sending much love to you, sis. Sending much love to you as well. Sis, sis, we gotta talk. I gotta tell you some things. But anyway, I'll call you. Sister Amanetu, peace and black power to you. Yeah, sis, it's a lot of shenanigans. Being Brother Tab, we gonna give him the 1-2
Yeah,
tonight. Cause like I said, shout out to Sister Farnessa on the check-in.
BB for Hodier.
Yes, Sister Marie B more in the building. Big Philly, Philly in the building. Crush 409 is in on the check-in. Yeah, hip hop. I mean, it was so many events that was taking place around here, Sister Marie. I couldn't get to them more. I'm gonna tell you that. And we was outside. Trust me. While we weren't here, we was outside. Trust me. So I couldn't even get to everything. Shout out to the BK William Mackey History Club.
Yes, brother Ray.
Yeah, they had Dr. Arthur Lewis last week. You can always check out the repost of those broadcasts at the BK William Mackey Jr. History Club right here on YouTube. Um, and check those out at your own leisure. Shout out to Dr. Filet on the check-in. Um, thank her for calling me to check up on me. Actually, sometimes you fade off, and people don't even check up on you. But I'm glad she checked up on me because outside of us being outside and tackling all these events and working and all the things that we do, I had some personal issues that I had to deal with on my end, and I know Sister Marcia as well, and Brother Tad as well. So, life happens. Life happens, and we are not exempt from that. But I see my brother Blacksmith. Let me get him in here. Brother Black, what's good with you?
What's up? What's up, Super King,
Starting
brother
trouble
Tad?
as usual. I see you,
Blacks.
even though I've been quiet. I've been seeing you starting your little trouble on social media.
What I do this time?
I don't know. You don't get me to admit to nothing.
Well,
What's
I
the Blacks?
I want Biden to send the people in Lahaina more than $700. Yeah, that's my trouble. I got other troubles as
Isn't that
well.
terrible? I mean, $700, but you got billions for Ukraine. You
Trillion.
got billions and trillions for persons who are flooding through the borders illegally, but you have nothing.
That is
Nothing.
the biggest. That ain't really no. This it's a war. Of course, people are dying. People, they got soldiers and battle lines and all that. What it is a money laundering scheme. That's all it is. It's a money laundering
But
scheme.
it's also a quiet war
Yeah,
because the millions of people that are dying taking this juice that they're not reporting
that's
about.
another part of it.
Prepping now for another round of it, talking about our folks young as 6 months old should be taking the juice.
Yeah,
And I refuse to sip the Kool-Aid. I lost my mama to the Kool-Aid. God bless her soul. You know, it wasn't the germ, it was the juice. The juice took her out.
ain't it quite profound with all the information we have? How people still don't listen to us? Full stop.
Right.
You know,
At least research it before you go in. Is what I'm saying. I'm not talking about okay, you're gonna just live my life now. No, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah.
But at least investigate it. And I'm bugging how so many of our people was programmed to hate on Trump. Now, it's funny because I once said, there's some Urubus on the job that hate Trump. And I laughed because one day I had to put a post up. I said, the way y'all feel about Trump is how we feel about y'all. But unfortunately,
That's heavy. That's heavy.
you know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, so many people are indoctrinated with rhetoric. Because I'm not saying he's the best. However, he did predict everything that's going on right now. He said, keep the wall up. You don't want to we got to take care of folks here before we let the migrants in. And here we are with the migrants, high crime, rape, all kinds of levels of violence.
you had one young man here in New York who just got here 2 months ago, already arrested 14 times.
That's what I'm saying.
14 times that this guy's been arrested for various crimes.
And
This
he
is
ain't get deported yet.
no.
You exactly. And see, this is something that Dr. Claude Anderson talked about years ago, and he even cried when he gave this
I
lecture.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that, right? And he said this was going to happen. He said they're going to bring Hispanics. He said, and you Negroes don't get it. They're trying to replace you. But if we could remember, and I think we talked about this on the show before, that we was, we seen this play before 100 years ago when they sent for the Southern Europeans to quell any efforts of us rising, because they seen during COVID we all started becoming more aware of the knowledge and information because we all had to sit down. We all had to sit down. Now people could really peruse through lectures and watch things they never saw on YouTube and get to see the great speak. People got familiar with Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. Ben. People was like, whoa, I never heard this information before. People of great influence. And they started spreading the message. And then black folks started waking up. And it's like, whoa, 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 we can't have them woke again.
Got that right, bro.
So they pulled
And speaking of those lectures, brother Tad, a lot of you got to view those because of transatlantic
production.
productions.
Yeah.
And he just transitioned. Minister
Yeah.
Clemson Brown
That's
transitioned.
peace be on.
Yes, so I believe his homegoing services are this weekend.
In
So
fact, one of our early shows was with Brother Clemson Brown and Dr. Jahi Esau when they were doing the lecture series down on what's that, Decal and Marcus Garvey, I believe it was, or was that over there?
by the church by where Johnny Youngblood was moved to. I can't
Yes,
remember the name right now, but
yes.
yeah.
But that was a nice series Minister Clemson Brown put together. Him and Dr. Esau. We got to get Dr.
I'm
Esau
glad.
when he come back.
Yeah, he definitely got to come back on, and I'm glad Thorough Black Talk again, the only black media outlet to cover that. So I'm glad we were invited to do that as well.
And not just cover it, Sister Keisha, because I got to say this, I don't want to belabor the point. That's been holding the line with boots on the ground, really in the streets. And I'm not just talking about in the streets getting interviews, because we've been fighting off the fake leaders. We've been calling these suckers and chumps out. We've been approaching people. Shout out to Brother Ashe, who they tried to give him fever for approaching one of the fake charlatans. You know what I'm saying? Here it is. I don't know how many years later, and we still waiting on the school to open. I don't even think we got a block party this summer. You know what I'm saying? But we've been calling it for years. Myself, Sister Keisha, and a few others, when we were with Straight Black Pride, we were calling out folks. Many folks didn't know, but we was like, we here in New York, boots on the ground. He's a fake, he's a phony, he's a fraud. They're not about that life. I'm telling you now. People thought
People
we
ain't
were
want to rock with us. They was
right.
like we was haters.
Right. People thought we was hating. Oh, it ain't about notoriety for us. I'm well known in my own circle. I'm validated by my own people. I'm validated by those that matter. That's why I could go to any hood. That's why I could go anywhere. And I'm good. No worries. No, none of that. I'm good in any hood. You see me in California, I'm with real Crips and Bloods. I'm with real gangsters. I'm with real gangsters in New York streets. Dudes that they make rap records about. I mean, for crying out loud, C. Gutter's my partner in the other movement. And if you into hip hop, you know who C. Gutter is. And that's my brother. Somebody said, yo, how you get an interview with C. Gutter? I said, 'cause that's my man. Like, that's my people. I've been vetted in the community. That's why my name is Tad Cromwell. I'm not hiding from nobody. I'm not hiding behind no name or no fake or phony facade. So I say all that to say, from the gate, I said Brother Polite was a sucker. And I told people I didn't
Hold on, Brother Tad. Let me get Sister Marcia in
He's
here.
fitting to go in.
Get Marcia in here. Hold on. First off, let me go back to the comments. Transatlantic Productions, the going home service is the 23rd, 2 p.m. at House of the Lord Church. That's the 23rd, 2 p.m. at House of the Lord Church for Minister Clemson Brown. Sister Marcia on the check-in just in time.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Hold on. Before Brother Tag go in, Sister Marcia, hold on. In 2016, here we go, Stanley. In 2016, we had reestablishing a code of conduct in our community.
That's over 7 years ago.
There you go. Right there, Nicholas, Brooklyn. Here is the original flyer.
And
Now,
we did another one after this.
yes, we did one in, what was it? Crown Heights, was it? Was it Crown Heights?
On Flatbush, I think it was.
Yeah, somewhere over there. By Mega Evans over in that area.
Yes.
But so yeah, so we tried to establish a code of conduct because we saw fake ones. Let me say this.
Part 2, Sister Keisha, that says part 2.
Yes.
We already did part 1 and
yes.
part 2.
Yes. And one of the things that I advocate if we're moving forward as a people, the need for intelligence, right? You have to know how to interject yourself into various situations so that you can come out with an outcome that is beneficial for yourself and for your mission, right? So there were many times where I invited Umar Johnson or Pralite or SETI or whoever into the United African Movement so that we can gain access to their hundreds of thousands of followers to offer them an alternative. Now, as Brother Tad always tells you, you can't take something away from somebody and not offer them an alternative. So that's how we were able to bring in a younger audience into the United African Movement based on my need of intelligence, right? I wanted to tap into that and I had to go into the belly of the beast to do that. Brother Tad made it perfectly clear that there were persons that were moving amongst the community that were unsavory. Brother Tad said it, Brother Ashe said it, I said it, King Simon, a few others who were saying there were folks among us that's just not operating in the best of conduct. But, we were called haters, troublemakers, especially because we were moving with straight black pride.
Right.
That alone, people was calling us haters. And I bet you they singing sorry now based on the climate that we're living in. I bet you wish you had a straight black pride chapter New York City now. I bet you now. But anyway, Brother Tad, before we go into this thing with Brother Polite, let the people know what we were trying to do here before all of this came out. Go ahead.
We was establishing a code of conduct. We were getting the community to recognize that the power was in the people. And these people only rise to power by the support of the people. But we have to vet them as the people. We can't let just anybody walk into the movement just because they sound charismatic or they have a following. We can't give them access to our people. We have to be stewards of our information, of our movement, of everything that we say we represent. We have to be the vanguard, each and every one of us. Because remember, we bring our children to these things. We bring our elders and family members who want to learn the information. We bring them. So we can't have these half-assed dudes representing what we say we represent. When people, no, let me say, when Polite was talking about selling sovereignty, I knew it was bull. I knew it was BS. People was like, yo, they only doing this to us because we don't know our status. Yo, first of all, one thing I learned about the European, if I ain't learned nothing else, they don't care about none of that shit you talking about. They don't care about your status. They don't care about your sovereignty. Every nation they invaded was a sovereign nation. What is
that status ain't working for them now, is it?
Yeah, they ain't got no jurisdiction over you. I remember the first time I heard that, right? It was like 1995, 1996. I was locked up. And this dude was talking about status and jurisdiction and all that. And after his whole spiel, he's telling me how they locked him up because he was operating a car with no driver's license, and driving is a right, not a privilege, and they can't revoke that from him, and they don't have no jurisdiction. And he was talking all that good stuff. And I asked him, how's that working out for you? Because you in here with me. How's it working? Because, see, it sounds good if you don't know no better. If you're thirsty, just about any glass of water looks good to you. Sometimes you don't realize there's pebbles in the water, might even be piss in the water. But you're gonna take a sip because you're thirsty. But when you're full of water, when you're not thirsty, you can discern tap water from Kagan water, from mountain spring water. You know good water when you see it. So when these dudes was talking about what it takes to get free from under the yoke of white supremacy, I don't believe none of that. You can't tell me you gotta fight the white man in his court to get your freedom, to get your status corrected. That was foolishness. And he spawned a little polite called Young Pharaoh. But we're not even gonna go into that lunatic over there. No, because these dudes should have been called out years ago.
Get with it, Tag. Get
Now that
with
polite
it.
in jail, now I didn't put hands on him. I didn't force him to touch that little girl. I saw dudes online talking about it's COINTELPRO. They setting him up. Nah, his DNA shouldn't be on no little girl. Did anybody hear the victim's statement from the mother?
Yep.
The mother trusted him. Now, this is a problem for me because I love working with young children, particularly our children, almost exclusively our children. I love working with. But now you're breaking down the barrier of trust factor that's already frayed because dudes do foolishness like this. You tell this woman you want to talk to her daughter to help mend the little rift that y'all may have, and you violate this woman's trust and this young child's innocence. You violated a child's innocence. Now, Polite was, as Sister Keisha said, Polite was invited to several events, a couple of straight Black Pride. In fact, no straight Black Pride event he ever showed up to. I remember the last one. Jeannie was at my house. Irritated Jeannie was at my house. He was sitting on the couch. Polite called him. I told him, ignore the call. He's like, nah, let me see what he wants. He wanted to cop a plea to Jeannie about why he couldn't make it. I told Jeannie, hang up the phone on that dude. Jeannie was like, what? I said, hang up the phone. I said, Polite is full of shit. Pardon my language. I said, he's full of shit. I said, he's supposed to come to the first one. He didn't show up. He's supposed to come to the second one. He didn't show up. Many people don't know, Jeannie and Sarah Suit and said he was supposed to have a debate, which I said, one or two things going to happen. Either Jeannie's going to crush him because they both have the same ideology, but Jeannie's way hella smarter than, what's the little dude name again? Seti. He's way smarter than Seti, or Seti's going to renege and cancel. Seti reneged and canceled and said he had an event coming up. Him and Polite was doing a free lecture, but it wasn't scheduled when Sonetta had booked them to have the debate. I said, that's 3 times Polite reneged, but he always bigging up Dr. York, and where's Dr. York and why? I said, Polite is a deviant. Polite is a sexual deviant. That's why he always bragging about his quote unquote wives. He's just a pimp cloaked in consciousness and trying to sell it to the community as polygamy. I know a fraud when I see one. When he said he was an OG Crip from Brownsville, I knew he was full of it because I ain't never seen him. I ain't never seen him in the streets nor heard his name.
Ever.
Ever. There was a video he did, and I'm about to pass the mic, but I'm just glad he's off the scene now. But there was a video where he was acting like he was breaking up a fight between some young dudes in Brooklyn. He was in Atlantic Terminal Projects. Those was my little dudes that told him, get the F out of here. We know who you are, Polite. We don't want you around here. I was just clapping like, go ahead, little dudes. Go ahead, little dudes. Because they all would ask me, how was this leader? How was that leader? All these people they saw on YouTube. I'm like, here a real one, here a fake one, here a real one. He cool. I only deal with the real. I only deal with the real. It's too many fake ones running around. Because this is the thing. You can't be a leader if you're not in a position of an organization where you leading your people to accomplish a goal and an agenda. You're just a mouthpiece. And where I was coming up, first of all, I respect the chain of command and the hierarchy. I respect the elders, those who came before me, those who put in the work before me. You can't talk about being the leader or a spokesperson for this movement and you have no elders that you hold in high regard. And you can't have no elders that's deviants, like Brother Polite. You say Dr. York is your elder, Dr. York is down for sexual molestation. I don't care how smart you are. When you harm children, you are a problem. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it was Dr. King, God bless him. I don't care if it's Malcolm X, God bless him. Once you harm children, you null and void all of your efforts. So I watch these people and I tell people who the real ones, who the fake ones. And we really got to start putting hands on feet, because these ones that could talk a good one are what the elders would call armchair revolutionaries. They talk about it, but they're not in the streets. Brother Mike Graves is in the streets. Brother Ray in the streets. Shoot, Brother Mike Graves be on the front line with these devils. That's action. He ain't got to be the most eloquent one. He's highly intelligent, and he backs it up with action. He pulls up where he's needed. That's what a warrior is. That's what a revolutionary is. Most of these other dudes only pull up when the camera's on, and then they fight for the camera. Even with the whole Bambaataa press conference, everybody was fighting for the camera because they heard it was going to be a press conference. Everybody want their shine. That's why you did not.
We were just standing on the side, just shaking our heads. Look at me.
That's why you did not see us on the camera. And it was only important that Sister Keisha spoke because she was the realest, the most powerful, and the female voice. Because there is no balance without our sisters speaking. That gender war that's going on, I ain't with it. I tell people I don't work with no organization, no movement where sisters ain't in leadership position. I don't trust it. Dudes, we like having piss contests. Like we still 10 and 12 years old. Sisters gonna get it done. Sisters are not gonna bite their tongue. So there was no balance with these dudes claim they represent. Even when you look at Dr. Umar now, look at his girlfriend Sukiana, at least who he want to make his girlfriend. She all on the red carpet twerking, tossing her ass up, and nobody want to see that. One thing you learn as a child, you're either gonna be the head or you're gonna be the tail. So you're either gonna lead with your head or you're gonna lead with your tail. And what kind of response you expect to get if you leading with your tail? It's all this foolishness that's going on under the guise of Pan-Africanism and Black liberation, and this is the last vestige that we really got, because we're gonna keep it 100 with you. We're not gonna sit here and act like we all about that life and don't show up and don't pull up. We about that life, because there's some people who got dealt with outside of the scope of public view and public knowledge, because things have to be done. Everybody else want to dilly-dally. I felt Polite should have been dealt with a long time ago, but he kind of high profile, so it can't be a high profile person to deal with him. But these women knew. These women knew he was a deviant. Why they didn't come to nobody? They knew Pharaoh was a deviant. Shoot, we seen Pharaoh beat his baby mother up on camera. Because he's a deviant. For a white girl. But this is who people want to follow. This is who people we think we should take our lead from. Dudes who are not vetted. Dudes who are not authenticated. Dudes who have no organizational skills. Dudes who don't have nobody that could vouch for them. You bugged out. I've been part of Straight Black Pride movement, African Village, parents actively reclaiming their youth. I've been here working with people and for the people. And ain't no smut on my name. If anybody puts some smut on my name, bet they got more in theirs. I probably got smut from rubbing against them. Because, you can't do dirt and expect not to get dirt. You know what I'm saying? But the point is, this is for us as the people to take a closer look to who we let stand before us and give us our marching orders. Because so many of these dudes are fake. So many of these dudes are fake. I love working with my sister Keisha. I love standing with my sister Keisha because I learned so much from her. She don't got me by much, but her wealth of knowledge supersedes what I learned. And I still learn from her. Brother Blacksmith, Sister Marcia, we learn from each other. Our young brother Ashe, we learn from each other. We
still
all
sharp and still.
Yeah, still sharp and still. But when you got somebody who think they the head of the movement, the head of the pack, they the know-it-all, nah. And he did the worst. He violated one of our children. He violated a child. And then he's a liar. He's a blatant, bold-faced liar because he kept saying those charges are dropped.
And Musty.
Oh, yeah, Musty. Let's not forget Musty. He one of them dudes that don't believe in deodorant. I don't know. Get some baking soda and coconut oil. Something. Do something with them.
Musty.
Do something with them bits. But, yo, your DNA shouldn't be nowhere around a child. You had that lunatic nature boy to talk about he makes love to his children's mother in front of the children. Like, what is wrong with you? These lunatics. There's so many, there's a plethora of them.
Hey,
Lunatics.
Brother Tat, could I ask a question real quick?
Yes, I need to get off this soapbox.
No. Please, I want you to answer this question. What's the deal with that Rashad Jamal situation? Because he kind of got lost in that whole polite thing because he got a bigger profile. Just asking. I don't know much about it.
Now, Rashad Jamal, remind me who he is.
He's the dude. He's from Chicago. He was in a car with his. I think he supposedly abused his baby mama, one of her children. Then he left the state and he got caught up in Atlanta and they put him in a Fed prison. He got 18 joints.
Now, some of these dudes, I
Yeah.
just
He's more recent though. He's probably like in his early 30s, like Pharaoh's age or something like that.
right. A lot of these dudes I step back from. See,
Okay.
Pharaoh and Polite, these are dudes I literally stood around. I literally stood around and critiqued them. Somebody once told me, say, yo, Brother Tad, I was watching this old video and I saw you. Yo, you've been around for a minute. I said, yeah. And I'll tell anybody, I came into this movement with Dr. Khalid. Literally held my hand. I met him in the corner store on Clinton and Fulton. I was already studying. I was already getting the information from my Elder Baba Sweets. I was already getting the knowledge, just getting the information. I wasn't active yet. I was just still learning it. So when I went to the store, I knew who that man was. That was Dr. Khalid. You know, he was on Public Enemy's record. He was on Ice Cube's album. I knew who he was. I saw him on the news. White folks hate him. I love him. You know, my enemies can't pick my enemies for me. If you my enemy, your enemies become my friends, if not at least an ally. But you will not tell me who I'm supposed to listen to and not listen to. So I knew exactly who Dr. Khalid was and loved that man for all that he's done. Unapologetic and very courageous to stand in them people's face. Even after they murdered our brother James Byrd in Jasper, Texas, he was one of the few, if not the only one I seen go down to Jasper, Texas in the middle of all them Europeans who was threatening to murder him. And he stood there like the brave black man he was and dared any of them to touch him. Because that's all he was doing, selling wolf tickets. That's all he was doing. So when I'm around, I'm critiquing people. I'm reading body language. You know, you got to stand around people, feel their energy, feel how for real they are. That's why I'm unapologetic of who I am. Am I perfect? Of course not. Am I human? Definitely. Am I passionate? Like a motherfucker. Very passionate because I love our folks, man. And all the things that has happened to us messed up. I know how it happened. I know why it happened. And the people that it happened to are people that I grew up with and love. People who are in my family. My family wasn't above gang violence. My family wasn't above drug addiction. My family wasn't above poverty. But then I learned it was all by design. It was all by design. And I learned who the architects were. So when you got dudes coming in, I see you as an enemy. And we got to watch who keeps these gates open for these dudes. You know, I used to rock
That part, Brother Tag. Go ahead.
I used to rock with Dr. Umar Hardbody. I believe when he came in, he was sincere. But I believe he got a sip of that power. Just like I seen dudes in the street who was poor. They get a little package from an OG. If you ain't from the streets, please try to stick with me and follow me. You may be a little dude, you broke, you trying to get some money. You go to the older drug dealer, he'll put you on, you learn the game. Now you think you bigger than him. You get your car, you get your jewelry. Now the girls who hated you last summer, now they love you this summer because you finally got a haircut, washed up, got your joys, money in your pocket. Now you get some attention. But you only 1 year into having power. You a baby with it, but you don't know how to wield this power. So you become reckless and irresponsible with the power. Because with power comes great responsibility. You got to learn how to use your power. And a lot of these people, once they start getting this attention, they start bugging out. They get power drunk. And then they think they the King Kong of this thing. And then they talk about they the most requested this and they the most, and nobody doing what they doing. Nobody, nah. Self-praise is no praise at all. You can't appoint yourself as the king. You got to be anointed as the king. The people got to view you as the king. I walk these streets with my head held high. You know why? Because the people said I can. The people said, Tad, we got your back. You good out here. And if they don't say it, I know how to fight for myself anyway. I don't need their approval. But it helps when you got support in the community. So Dr. Umar got everybody to chip in. I know one of our organizations, we raised over $10,000 for him because we believed in him. We believed in him. We gave him tons of money. I was telling people, yeah, this brother doing great things, this, that. Here it is. I was expecting my baby Kayla to go to that school. Kayla's 16. By the time he get that school open, she may be graduating med school or law school or something.
I heard you're going to be teaching there.
But again, what do we get? We get block parties. We get fashion shows. We get mock weddings. But I ain't pay for that. And when Brother Ashe calmly asks him, hey, brother, how's it going with the school? You want to take it as a threat. Why? Because subconsciously you ain't opening no school. You just milking the people. How many years you had the building now? You got the building. But see, I want the people to look up what does it take to open a school in Delaware and see if he has those things in place. You need a board of directors because you need accountability. You need a real curriculum. Salute to our brother Marcus Klein. Salute to Marcus Klein. Salute to Baba Baruti. Salute to so many people who are doing what they can where they are. Salute to
Q Butter.
Yeah, salute to our brother Q Butter. Yeah, we gotta get Q Butter back too. We ain't had Q Butter on in a minute. Salute to our brother Q Butter right here in our backyard in Brooklyn, doing phenomenal things with young people. And I've been there. I saw it set up. You can see it set up. He ain't need $1 million to do it. None of these people needed $1 million to do what they're doing. Baba Baruti ain't need $1 million, though I wish he could have $1 million. Marcus Klein didn't need $1 million. Q Butter ain't need $1 million. Peace and blessings upon Queen Ali McLean, who didn't need $1 million at Sankofa Academy. My brother Marcus Sankofa Nix out in Baltimore. He's doing phenomenal things. Him and Dr. Dennis Asar Winkler are doing phenomenal things. My folks in Baltimore. Shout out to them. There's people really on the ground doing what other folks are talking about doing. Marcus Klein, man, if you can see what this man is doing with these young people, we got to get Marcus Klein on the show. Yes, Sister Keisha, please, let's not forget. Let's get these people back so they can speak for themselves and let the people know how they can support them. Because it's time to move these charlatans out the way, man. They moving themselves out the way. Some are not moving fast enough. I'm glad Seti politely bowed out because he's intelligent, but he's a cokehead. He's a cokehead. He admitted he sniffed blow. I mean, y'all want to follow a crackhead? That's your business. That's your business. But enough about the charlatans. How about them aliens, Brother Blacksmith? How about the Mexican aliens?
Wait. You gotta let Brother Tad go. You gotta let him go. Because we've been wanting to say this for a long time. And when we
Since
first
we had them
calling us all kind of names. Hating us. I mean, hating us.
I really wanted to fight dudes, though. I really wanted to fight.
Hey, Tad, before you pass the mic to me, I want to hear what Sister Marcia got to say. She ain't said nothing.
I'm about to say, what's going on with you, Marcia? Get in here and go in.
I'll go after you.
Greetings, everyone.
Peace, sis. I'm sorry I hogged the mic up. I'm sorry I hogged the mic.
No, happy thoughtful Thursday.
That's fine, brother.
You had some thoughts on your mind that you wanted to let loose. Let them loose. Happy thoughtful Thursday on Thorough Black Talk. Yeah. Appreciate all the words that you said. We've spoken about these peoples and their contribution and the lack of the larger community seeing through the BS. And that's just the world that we're living in right now. But how is Thorough Black Talk?
We good, sis.
Like Sister Farnessa said, I got it off my chest a little bit now.
There you go.
Breathe a little bit.
She said, tap that in out his chest. That's
I
right.
still ain't get it all out. There's so much more. We just gonna have to do a whole series on
one man show.
No.
Let it loose.
I'm quite sure you all can add to it.
It's a
But we
few
need
of
a
them, sis.
series.
It's a few of them.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to get at people, but we stay quiet. You know, people was getting mad at us, calling us all kind of names, you know, hating us, calling us haters. Like me, a hater? Are you kidding? That's not my character.
That's
But
right.
you know, it's finally come down to this, unfortunately, his sexual assault of this young 14-year-old girl. And a lot of people were saying, you know, well, how is it that the mother let him take the daughter to the club? That wasn't the case. And if you hear the mother's plea, what happened was they were all in a room, and some of them were going downstairs to take photographs in the lobby. So Polite offered to take the little girl downstairs to the lobby of the hotel to take the photographs and to get food and to come right back upstairs. So the mom is calling, like, they taking too long. What's going on here? The daughter's phone is off. She's not getting through to Polite. She don't know where the hell her daughter is until hours later and find out what happened. But again, you know, unfortunately, Brother Tad, and I have to say this because, and I got this from Brother Mike Graves, the history hitman. So he gave me this quote. Uh, our people want to win so bad. We want to win so bad that we will sometimes succumb to the worst conditions amongst our own because we want to win so bad. And as you said, you know, his charismatic speech is what pulled people in. But if you actually listen, like Taz said, you know it's gibberish. You know it's gibberish. You know this. You can't this whole credit correction status and all this old kind of stuff. He was pushing and peddling to people. And I'm like, you can't even correct your status of your underarms. So you can't tell me shit.
Sister Keisha, you know what's the killer too? Now, us four here read, right? We read, we frequent our black book vendors, we go to black bookstores. He wrote over 90 books. Have you ever seen one book of Brother Polite's anywhere? As many bookstores and book vendors you've been to. Like, you're gonna see Civilization of Barbarism, you see the new Jim Crow, you see Dr. Clark's books, Dr. Ben's books, you see independent writers, you know, but I ain't never seen a Brother Polite book. I don't even see him selling it at none of the events. I knew he had $25 plates of vegetables, rice, and potatoes. I said, what kind of thing is that? This big in plate for $20? Is he serious? I said, I know a thief when I see one. I'm from the hood. I'm from the hood. Three-card money and all that stuff, and CeeLo. You locking the dice, you loaded dice, craps. Man, I done seen it all.
Wait, hold on. I gotta go back to somebody said, I think it was Sister Manira. Sister Manira, I gotta go back because she says the so-called radical Newark mayor, Ras Baraka, is a sex predator and a woman beater as well. I didn't hear that, but that's some tea for me. Have y'all heard that?
Not yet. Not
we
yet.
heard it
She
today.
knows she knows.
We heard it today. It's crazy.
Well, remember who the father is though. So and he's the mayor of Newark and been there for a while now. The people there love him. So it's going to be like Umar or anybody else who's charismatic, but like to a lesser or greater degree, it's the same situation, just in Jersey. So we don't follow that. I lived a while in Jersey, so I kind of know who's who in Jersey too, as far as, you know, being real or not, and so on and so forth. So that's not nothing new though. What was just said a minute ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think Transatlantic Productions also said they was triggered when they heard he wrote 90 books. I was gonna say 90 books in how many different languages? And when I found out all the languages he speak, he made up himself. I said, "Come on, what are you speaking? Pig Latin? Like, what do you mean?"
But nobody told him, "Ooh, yeah, underarms stink." That's what we should have been saying too.
No, you are on it. I've never been that close to that brother, so I don't know. But you are on it. I'm so glad because I probably would have said something out loud.
Nah, all you have to do is walk past you, and I'm telling you right now, If
You
you
ain't gotta be.
listen, if your lungs is in trouble, you definitely was gonna die that day because you can't hold
Oh,
your breath.
Hey, listen, how I got exposed to Brother Polite being somebody that I didn't think we should follow. One time I went to, this is before I knew I was a targeted individual. I was homeless at the time, all that. And what he said at the end, he said election, it was decent. It sounded good. But at the end, what he said was for children to respect you, you need to first be successful. And I'm looking at him like I talk to kids all the time. Kids love me for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have no problem. I've been around all of y'all, well, with the exception of Sister Marcia. So y'all know how I am around people. You know what I'm saying? I'm friendly, approachable, all of that. And he said at the end, be successful. And I'm looking at him. So he's saying basically, if you're not successful, you a bum because you don't have no morals or nothing like that. Now, mind you, I didn't know at the time I was a targeted individual, but I'm like, hold on, I'm not successful, but you know, you looking at, you saying that on a financial level. You're not saying that on a spiritual, moral level. So I'm like, okay, I'm done with him.
You know what's funny? Because that was the same thing that turned me off about him when I first was listening to him. But like around the first time I was around him, I was like, yeah, Duke a fraud. First time I was around him, I'm like, dude is a straight fraud. But when he said that, I was turned off. I kind of knew where he was trying to get because young people do respect the glimmer and glitz of it all.
Of course.
But now here's the thing. Those are the young people that don't know no better. Those are the ones that value material stuff.
Right.
The young people who are really looking to be better people, who are looking to grow and gain some knowledge, don't care about that. And that's where he didn't, you know, he didn't make that level of discernment of who's who and what's what. Because now when you talk about what success is and what your value system is, look at what he identified as success. Money. Being around European people, wearing European clothes, driving European cars, hanging out with trannies. Because let's not forget he had trannies in one of his cars.
Come on, Ted.
Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that he called people in the hood animals. And the moment he scammed all these animals out of their money, he ran to Beverly Hills in Miami to hobnob with the Europeans. Let's not forget that. As soon as he got in trouble, he came back to the hood. And Sarnetta welcomed them with open arms. And I get it, Sarnetta's doing what Sarnetta do. He's a media platform and he's going to get the views. He's going for the views. I ain't knocking how that man eat, but we got to call it for what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because so many people been polite for too long when people been telling them, yo, Duke is fake, Duke is corny, Duke a fraud. That's why no matter what you hear about when me and Sister Keisha was with Straight Black Pride, you ain't never see nobody protest. Never, ever. People protested, people picketed. The closest it came is when we was in Boston. And you seen we put them in their place, them fake Black Lives Matters folks. And then they wrote their article. All that stuff, all that saucy stuff they had to say, they only said it in the article because when we was face to face, it wasn't no smoke.
None.
There was another writer that wrote for Essence Magazine, but he lived in the hood. Saw him in the barbershop. Yo, man, you got to talk. He got up. I said, yo, that article you wrote, oh, I ain't know you was down with that. Yo, nah. Because people know who I am in these streets. I'm the warrior Tad in the streets. On these platforms, I'll be all political, diplomatic. But when we out here, when we outside, we outside. And we're going to play by the rules of outside. And I'm varsity when it comes to this. Not JV, baby. I'm going to play hard. So people could act tough and they could say, see, TK Kirkland said the wildest thing, right? Sister Keisha, right? He said the internet is a gift and a curse. The curse is it gave children a seat at grown-ups' table. And I felt that when he said it. People with small minds have a big platform to speak now. Now they speaking where the adults are. They speaking in adult spaces about things their little mind can't grasp. And when your mind is small, and you're in the first grade, a fifth grader sound like he knows a lot. And that's what was happening with Polite and all these dudes. A lot of that was rhetoric because none of that stuff worked. None of that status correction, none of this religious stuff worked. Only thing that works is real activity, organizing your family, becoming aware of what's going on with you and in your community, understanding what's coming down the pipeline. People was telling us for years that Europeans are trying to move in and steal our property. People like, so I don't want to live here no way. Give me the $2,000. I'll move out my apartment. And now you can't even afford to come back to your hood. And they made you move out the West Bubble.
Now you can't even visit because you getting told, put on you to come into certain neighborhoods. You being told now. So you can't even get in free no more.
Yeah. It's and it's for real. Sister Keisha, I went to work the other day. I'm driving down the block and almost every car on the block had a boot on their car. I'm like, ooh, that's not a good look. Make sure
New York is making its money back.
Yeah, it's rough out here. It's rough out here. It's no game out here. But again, you know, like we said before, these voters got to take accountability for that because you keep electing these idiots. And I keep telling y'all to vacate, abstain from the vote. Stay away from this system. It's not going to work for you. You talking to somebody who actually was behind the Iron Curtain. Until you develop a political party and put yourself on a ballot and run it, listen, we were all of us on the Freedom Party we already seen what's behind the Iron Curtain. So you don't have to listen to us. You just keep playing this stupid game and keep losing. But people are suffering out here, especially now that this increase of drug activity. Now
coming in with the migrants.
Come on, Tad. Listen.
I mean, I'm working with them.
If y'all could go to Midtown,
not on the drug side. Not on the drug side. Let me clear that, sis. When I say I'm working with them, let me clear that for all listeners and viewers. I'm working with the migrants, but not on the drug side. I'm doing intake. I'm processing them as they come into New York City. That's what I mean. I'm working with them.
Hey,
you can see it. You can see it in Midtown. Brother Black, you ain't been here in a minute, but Midtown is like the 80s again.
Wow.
You got dope fiends. It's crazy.
So it's the deuce again?
People getting sexually assaulted out in the
Every
open.
moment.
That's crazy.
Brian Park.
People jonesing on the streets.
Yes. It's crazy.
Let me ask y'all a question. Did y'all hear about the migrants? It was so many of them in Chicago. They had to occupy a police precinct, and the police precinct got what you call them, little mites that when you bed bugs.
Good for them.
And then some of them were fighting with the cops in the precinct. They lived there. They were told, "Yo, you got to go out because we're gonna clean up." And they put them out for a few hours. And when they came back, there was no obvious signs that they cleaned the place. They just wanted them out. So I guess they could get a break from them for a few hours.
Well, with the mayor's, and Sister Keisha, maybe you can elaborate on this now, because I think the mayor want to shut down the migrants coming in. And I hear that he's trying to shut down the shelters now because of work with them in the shelters. And what people don't know, because I was in the shelters, that a lot of them are really gang affiliates. They're gangs.
No, for sure.
They're gangs. Gang. No other way. There's no way to sugarcoat it. There's no misunderstanding. The straight gangs. The migrants that are going to work, and let me tell you, I think I talked about this before. Some of them are very industrious, but if you read The Miseducation of the Negro, Carter G. Woodson talks about this in the very first chapter, how industrious other groups are when they come here. But they are getting pedal bikes. They're getting their free phones from welfare. Downloading DoorDash, Uber Eats, and doing their stuff, making $300 to $500 a day. But the gang members know this and are waiting for them to come back to the shelter and just robbing them. Keep your money. Straight like that. I've witnessed it. I've called the cops. They'll be right back. They had a drug deal that went bad in one of the shelters I was in. They all start fighting. I told them, first of all, I don't even do no violence here. We're not doing that. Because, you know, I have to use my imposing stature on some of them. And they respected that. A couple of them talk strong, but we know ain't nothing come of that. But they are physically attacking one another in front of us, in front of security, in front of staff. We call the cops. They go to the precinct for whatever, and then they write back. And like you said, Brother Blacksmith, they're not even deported. You're not even here legitimately. Your papers aren't even properly processed. You are seeking asylum. You haven't been granted asylum. And you already here robbing people. Because they were arguing in Spanish and they talking about, yo, he used all the coke last night. Yo, we got some. It was literally over cocaine. And it was explaining this to the staff that spoke Spanish. It's like, yo, this is crazy. This is what the fight was over. This is what's going on. But
this is who they're bringing in. This
right.
is who they're allowing in to come in and turn New York back into the 80s, like you just said. It
right.
is.
And for what? For martial law, to use all the
absolutely,
weapons, all
absolutely
these weapons they have, all them sci-fi weapons, them electronic robotic dogs and little R2s that they got rolling around with guns on. They waiting to use that, and we all know that black people is always at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to this.
Because we're not creating that plan. We're not doing anything. We're just sad.
Well, I'm doing what I need to do for my family. And that's why, as a collective, as black folks, we got to get back to being black folks, where we looked out for each other, we looked out for our community, and we knew who our neighbors were, and we looked out for the children, we looked out for the elders, and all the street dudes know to take whatever beef you got, whatever grievance you got, you take that down the block where nobody at, you take that by the factory, you take that by the alleys, you get it out of the community where our folks can be harmed. There was a code at one point that even the street dudes lived by. You're not shooting in front of Miss Jenkins' block or Mr. Nixon's house. We're not doing none of that.
The code is lost.
Yeah.
That code of value is lost.
It's lost with some of them.
That's right.
Because like I said, you know, I was in Fort Greene, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, right, Tat? When that whole thing, 2 weeks ago, right?
Yes.
So I was in Fort Greene at an event for a family member of mine. And one of the things that me and one of the OGs were talking about is that now, you know, when these invaders, I don't call them gentrifiers, invaders, they come in and they develop their own code and how they want things to do, how they want things ran. And because we're afraid to push back against that, we're pushing back against each other. And it's becoming worse. It's becoming worse. We have no services in our communities anymore. Everything has been fleeced. In fact, the mayor himself recently told all city municipalities that they should expect a reduction in their budget to deal with this migrant issue, which he now is calling a problem. Let's hear what he's saying on this. Hold on.
Flip-flop.
And then what happened? Started with a madman down in Texas, decided he wanted to bus people up to New York City. 110,000 migrants. We have to feed, clothe, house, educate the children, wash their laundry sheets, give them everything they need, health care. I don't see an ending to this. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City. We're getting 10.
Now, prior to his commentary here, he was welcoming. Come on over here. What do you?
Sanctuary City.
That's right. Him and his predecessor, de Blasio. You Democrats made these cities.
Bring them to New York.
Yes. So now you're calling the governor of Texas a madman because he is stretched thin and said, we can't take this anymore. And since y'all the ones who passed this bill, which is now law, we're sending them to your cities now to deal with it because this is what you voted for. This is what you legislate for. This is what you wanted. Now, Mayor Adams is crying wolf. Now he's crying. But again, I blame you voters who put him in office. Sister Marcia, your thoughts on this commentary from Mayor Adams here?
Nah, we need to do a remix. We need to get those videos where he was saying, bring them to New York. DeSantos, we're not taking those things. This was just, it was still the academic year. So like 9 months ago, this has not been a long time. The schools are filled to capacity. They have no room for all these welcome people. And okay, fine, you've had problems, you had this, but there was no forethought in what he was doing. When one person said, I'm to capacity in my state, I can't take no more, and my state fronts everyone coming in. He's like, no more. I'm going to shut down the doors. You can't shut down the doors. You can't do this. This is disgusting. We're
Now,
faced with. Go ahead.
now you notice that all of these media reports are showing all of these brown looking people, these black looking
Right.
people. There is an increase of 800%. Let me say that again. An increase of 800% of illegal Chinese. Where the hell they at? Why they not laying on the ground? Where they at?
They got
Somebody
their own
has
little system.
increased. Exactly. Come on, sis. You don't see them paraded all over the news, laying
No,
on grounds, looking for a shelter. Nowhere.
no.
The Asians
They
enjoying it.
funnel them through right there at the port. They put them on a separate bus. You don't see that bus coming to New York. It goes to wherever they prepared for.
Now,
Wherever they prepared for. And you can't even find an African one.
now they saying that, as y'all can Google this for yourselves, an increase of 800% of Chinese migrants, illegal migrants, flooding into the United States. It makes me wonder that if, and they said that there has been a rush of Chinese coming from China through Ecuador and through Mexico and then through the United States, paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to coyotes to bring them in. Now, it makes me wonder about this new political and financial arrangement that China has with the continent of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the Chinese are leaving in droves, what is the antidote for Africa?
Mm.
I question that. Now, I and none of us on this platform know what happens or what they discuss in these diplomatic meetings. Only thing that we can do is follow the politics and the money. And that's what I've been doing. I hope Africa is paying attention to this. I
Mhm,
hope Africa is paying attention to its own citizens who have been complaining about the Chinese
mhm,
as they make these new financial
mhm,
deals. You guys,
mhm.
what's on what I just said?
Well, I was in Ghana, and they were complaining about the Chinese. It was in the news. Last time I was in Ghana was 2019, right before COVID, which happened in 2020. Been going to Ghana for 4 years straight, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And that was the locals' complaint. That was in the news about Chinese migrant workers raping African women because they were sending the criminals from China over to Africa to work. Part of that was some of that was their sentencing. Go to jail or go to Africa. Go to
Mm.
Africa and work. They're gonna go to Africa and work. And it's just so we just got to stick together, man. It's so multi-layered and it goes so deep because many people talk about Africa but haven't set foot on Africa. And when I'm in Africa, I listen to the talk radio. I don't listen to the music. I listen to what's going on in terms of the politics. That's how you learn the difference between independence and sovereignty, because many of these countries will boast about their independence, but they're not sovereign because, like you said, deals are being made. Deals are being made. So yeah, to be independent means you govern your own behavior, but you're not going to control these resources. You're just going to control your people. That's your independence. But we're going to control the land and the resources and what goes on around here. The difference between independence and sovereignty. Sovereignty, you control everything. You control the land, you control the resources, you control who comes in and out and who makes policies. Independence, just control yourself. Because who are you getting your independence from is the question. How much independence are they looking to give you? So it's a
Well, look, they're not giving you a lot of independence. Look what happened to France. Look what France has done in Niger, Mali. They poured cement down their pipes when they started kicking them out. So, like, you've never been sovereign. You've always been independent. And, 50 years ago, they were having the same conversation. And 50 years later, they're still not learning. And they're opening doors for someone else to do the same thing. It's just same saga.
yeah.
I hope they are paying attention to that. History has to be looked looked into as a whole and not in part, because when you look at things in part, you miss out on a lot
Sister,
and your interpretation can be flawed. So I hope Africa is aware of that. Go ahead, Brother Tag.
and I say, I want people to know, and I hope you got the picture, and I'll look for the picture also. Um, that here at Thorough Black Talk, we're not just talking out our tails. We really meet with dignitaries. In fact, Sister Keisha and I also met with the sister Dr. Africa, who's the spokesperson for the African Union before she was kicked out for blasting the African Union for having Bill Gates as a keynote speaker. She let her brothers let the brothers on the continent know that this is unacceptable. But the sister Dr. Africa, when we were in Queens, like
Arankana, yeah, Dr. Arankana, yes.
yes, we are not just talking to talk. We meet with the people. We talk with the people that knows. That's like, nah, this is not your mainstream media fluff. We are boots on the ground, literally. So what we're telling you is from experience and from our hearts, because this involves all of us and the future of our children. This is not just fly talking points that people get to do like these fake charlatans. You say something hot, sounds dope. Yeah, now follow me because I'm selling this mint flavored Irish sea moss on my website. Nah, this ain't that. This ain't that. We ain't got no t-shirts for you. We ain't writing no books yet. This ain't that. This that information for you to get active and do what's necessary in your life, for you to be the leader in your life and stand up to injustice when you see it, no matter what it looks like. Whether it's a woman getting beat up in a train station, or you got to go approach one of these policymakers that's making things that's against your best interest. Get in their face and let them know what it is and how you feel. And that's just what I wanted to put on, Sister Keisha, because our time is flying, and we still got to get Brother Blacksmith to talk about these Mexican aliens.
Oh
Facts.
man.
We even get into all of that. I'll tell you, boy, time is moving, time is moving. But again, family, you have to stay alert and please stand firm on your square with what's happening. You know, when everybody was so excited about the brawl that took place in Montgomery, Alabama, on that travel
Riverboat.
boat, riverboat rather. Um, People were excited about our people fighting back as they should be.
I'm about to say, I was one of them.
Yeah, you should be
I threw
excited.
my hat up, grabbed my folding chair, like, yeah.
Wakanda forever.
August 5th, a new national holiday. That's for
Exactly.
us. That's when we stood up with chairs in our hands.
Did y'all check my mixtape on melaninblogspot.com called the Alabama Slammer Jammer? Melaninforever.blogspot.com a few days after the show. So, okay, I'm done. Go ahead. Y'all go. Go,
Facts,
Keisha.
facts,
Get
brother.
back.
Facts, brother. But it's this brother got me. I can't with Brother Black. I can't with him and Taz sometimes. I cannot. They ain't nothing but troublemakers. I'm gonna tell y'all that right now. They ain't nothing but troublemakers. But I knew there was gonna be some get back. Because I know how white supremacy works. I know it. Listen, stand firm in your square. Pay attention to your surroundings. In fact, in 2015, I did a lecture, 100 Years of Lynching Continue. This was in 2015 when I
8 years ago.
I told people and I warned people about these groups and these organizations and how they were going to come up and the media was going to be reporting on them as lone wolf assassins. They are not lone wolf assassins. What happened in Jacksonville, Florida at the Dollar General, although mainstream media said that the attack was or the shooting was by a lone a gunman, and not member of a group or organization, that is a lie. That is a lie. All you have to do is follow their background. This is why they wait so long to give you the name of these shooters, because they want to strip their social media pages. They don't want you to have access to their manifest. All of these things are happening behind the scenes to give you an illusion that these are lone wolves, that these are lone gunmen. And this is how it's always reported. This young man belonged to a group, an organization. If you follow his social media and his background, he was a part of a group. If you listen to the testimony of his very own father, who said he was hanging around unsavory characters or whatever that means, he was a part of a group. There is always going to be get back with white supremacy. You have to stand firm on your square. You cannot take your eye off the ball. Oftentimes, I see so many of our people into their phones as they enter stores, as they come out of buildings, as they enter. I see people going into their homes, looking at the phone, putting keys in the door. Like if I was back in the 80s, you would have made a good victim for me so I can rob you. Because y'all would have been good Vicks. Because this is crazy. You have to stay alert. These people, again, you live in gentrified neighborhoods now. Who the hell are these people around you? Who are they? If something pop off right now, are you insulated or isolated? Right? Can you get in? Can you get out? We got to stay firm on this, family. White supremacy never takes a day off. It's always on course, 24/7, 7 days a week, 365.
Hey, Keisha.
Go ahead, brother.
In the book Behold the Pale Horse, which I've referenced here on this platform previously, he said, the author William Cooper said that most of these type of mass shootings that we're now seeing is common everyday stuff nowadays. And mind you, this book was written at the beginning of the first Gulf War with Daddy Bush, not Junior. He said that most of these people have a history and a past, with a counselor or psychologist, psychiatrist, and them taking medication. And just like in the Manchurian Candidate, they get a buzzword and they go into action. They know what to do. They ain't gonna get no phone call. They get a buzzword. Somebody might be talking to them on the phone 20 minutes, and then they say the buzzword, and that automatically activates them to do whatever they was programmed to do. So, and then what you said on top,
right,
to get the training necessary.
Right. So we still have to stay on course with what is happening around us. We can't take our eye off the ball. We have to be more vigilant in our own self-security, meaning be alert, stay focused, pay attention to people around you, especially the seniors and our children. Pay attention when you're walking up and down the streets or getting in and out of your vehicles. Shout out to Sister Tam. She saw me ride my bike on the Belt Parkway this evening, just before we came on the show. Yeah, I had to get in at least an hour ride before we got there. You never know who's watching. You see what I'm saying? Sister Tam spotted me on the Belt Parkway. Now you find people on the Belt Parkway. But anyway.
Sister Keisha, real quick too.
Go ahead, brother.
There was a book called The Mind Control of Candy Jones, or the CIA's Control of Candy Jones. And it's speaking to what Brother Blacksmith was talking about. I had got a copy of it years ago because it was banned in the United States. So I had a friend order it from the UK and had it shipped to me. This is before the internet. But just to what he's talking about, she was a model, an American model who was very patriotic, traveled for the soldiers, performing at the USO. But she didn't know that she was hypnotized by the government, working as a CIA operative. And the key word was tic-tac-toe. Every time she answered the phone, tic-tac-toe, and she'd go into her alter ego, things like that. Very interesting book, but it speaks to what Brother Blacksmith was talking about, because of course, I like to make reference to.
There's a video of it on YouTube as well.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Yeah, it's about 8 or 9 minutes. It's called The Mind Control of Candy Jones.
Yes.
So
I think I seen it recently come on my timeline. Let me just say this real quick.
If I can find it and put it in the chat. Go ahead, Brother Black.
Real quick. In my book, I believe my first book, called I Ain't Perfect, But Take It From Me. It's a semi-autobiography of my life. And then, I go into the philosophies of how I see life and things like that. There was also a movie made. I don't remember the name right now, but it was the host. And now I'm gonna see who really old on this post right now. The host of the name of the show was The Gong Show. So if y'all remember that show from back in the days, early 70s, maybe to the mid 70s, the host said he was a CIA assassin. Same kind of story as the Candy
Yes,
Jones.
I heard about that.
Yeah. He made a movie. I'm gonna look it up and I'll put it in the Thor Black Talk Radio chat on
Okay,
Facebook.
good.
Yeah.
I heard about that. Yes.
Right. I remember the movie. I remember the Gong Show.
Yeah.
I watched the Gong Show as a kid, but to find out that he was a CIA assassin was crazy.
Yeah.
I had the Unknown comic, and he used to always call him Chucky Baby. And he had the curly.
Oh, Tad admitting his age, y'all.
Yeah. Look, I'm mad I made it this far. I'm telling you, it took a lot of ass kicking to get here.
You got ripped off. Say y'all old as black pepper. Shut up.
Look, as long as I don't look like it, we all right.
Exactly.
You know what I say? Black don't crack unless you smoke it.
I ain't never smoked. I smoked a lot of things, but I ain't never smoked crack in my life.
But that's why you still look good. You know,
Thank you, Jesus.
Black don't crack unless you smoke it. Then you start to look bad. Yo, y'all too funny.
You see it? I'll tell you what, ain't nothing but troublemakers. So again, family, I don't know if you all have heard about what happened.
Global economy.
Excuse me, to Judge Glenda Hatchett.
Yeah.
She was sexually assaulted by a sheriff in Georgia. And the case was just finalized, and we'll get into it, and we'll come back and have some conversation about it. But while I pull up the video, I think I got it up there. I think y'all can see that, yes?
Yes.
All right, bet. Here we go.
And as Kris said, CK has really been the person who has been leading this. I want to talk about what this has meant to me, and I'm grateful that you're all here so that I can just have this opportunity collectively, because I hope you understand that every time I talk about this, I am in fact having to relive what happened to me. I was at a reception. I'm going to be very candid with you. I'm going to be fairly brief. I'm going to be very candid about what happened so that there's no misunderstanding about what went on. I was the guest of then retired Sheriff Thomas Brown at a reception for the Georgia Sheriff's Association. I was greeted with I was welcome. People were just happy to see me. People wanted to take pictures. I felt very comfortable. And so for this to happen was just like, my goodness. And I was standing at a table, and the defendant, who I will continue to call the defendant, came up uninvited, and I was introduced to him as Judge Hatchett. To be cordial, I'll make this very quick. My family is from Troup County, Georgia. I said that, but I didn't know where Bleckley County was. He poked me just momentarily in the chest. It's right in the heart of Georgia. But then he grabbed my breast. He grabbed my left breast. He squeezed it. He then started rubbing on my breast until Thomas Brown intervened. Literally had to take his hand off of me and push him off of me. I am a very strong woman. I pride myself on being strong, and I really thought I was fine. I'm just going to tell you exactly what happened. I'm fine. This happened Tuesday night. I'm fine. I pressed charges the next morning. I'm fine. I even went to a dinner that Wednesday night. Thursday morning, I could not get out of bed. And I want to be candid about this. I'm being because people who know me, my life is very public, but my life is very private. I bet you $1,000, very few of you could say anything about my personal life, and that is by design. Even before I went on television, I am very private, almost introverted in my personal life. And so here it is, I am sobbing. literally sobbing. I could not stop crying. I could not get out of bed that Thursday morning. My assistant, Naima Rashad, has been with me for some 12 years or so at that time, was like, she'd never seen me like that. I rarely cry. Very people have ever seen me cry. And I could not even get up to go and get something to eat. That's how, in what horrible shape I was. I'm very candid that I did go into therapy that evening at 6 o'clock with Dr. Susan May. And I say that because there's sometimes such stigma about therapy. I needed help. My life had been changed. And as I said to the judge in the court this morning, that I never expected that I would be so deeply affected by this. I could barely get through my impact statement. See, my eyes are still puffy. I cried and cried and cried in court. And thankfully, I've at least gotten that out so that I hopefully won't break down today, and I might. But what I said is that there is a scar that he left. And what I really resented is that someone could have that kind of power over me. That somebody could make me in that moment feel helpless. I have never felt so helpless in my entire life. And I was angry, frankly. I was angry that I didn't slap him. I didn't kick him. But now I understand victims. I was absolutely frozen. And so I stand here today, as they have said, that I have been on the other side of this. I've never been the victim. I have been the advocate. I have been supporting people. I've been trying to make sure that people's rights were protected. And here I am being a victim. And so it would have been easy for me to just, go home and say, okay, well, it was an unfortunate situation. I had to file charges. There had to be accountability because the message needs to be clear that you cannot do this. How dare you do this? And if he would do this to me after having been introduced to him as Judge Hatchett, what else is happening? What about the women and men who are out here who don't have the resources that I have, who don't have the support of this amazing law firm and these amazing lawyers and all these people in the community who have stepped up and have been with me? This has been 20 months that they have manipulated the system with delays after delays after delays, in my opinion, so that he could hold on to not only his salary, but his pension. And I'm going to go there. I am going to go there. The governor did nothing. I'm going to go there. The governor, after men and women stood in front of the Capitol last October and demanded that the governor take action, he never suspended him until this today, when he resigned. He has been on salary and will have his full benefits. And so that is outrageous and it's unacceptable. And yes, I went there. And so what I will say, and I will take a few questions today, and I appreciate you all being collectively here so that I don't have to keep reliving this over and over as I talk. But I just want to say to the victims out there, speak up. People have to be accountable. And the judge said to me before I left the court today, I hope that you will continue to speak up.
This is nothing new. This is something that, until we understand that although Black men are the victims of white supremacy and police brutality, the target is always Black women, and it has always been Black women, because we have been the backbone of the world, of society. And in order to shift society, you have to bring down the backbone. And right now, as my grandmother used to say, they are in our kitchen. This is why Sukiyana, or whatever her name is, can be grinding all over the ground and people twerking at the Elmina Castle is because this society has sexualized black girls and black women for so long that white men still see us as their property and they can do what they want when they want at will. And there is no recourse for it. And even if there is recourse, they don't care. You are still their property. And this is what I said in the beginning of our broadcast. To understand the definition of what it means to be at war, do we really understand that, or are we being slaughtered? Because war is an engagement of two opposite positions. We are not engaging in a warlike setting in this arena. So, in my humble opinion, we are being slaughtered. But y'all thoughts on this situation with Judge Glenda Hatchett, who, by the way, not only is she a judge and a television personality, but she is on the board of directors of the Atlanta Falcons.
Wow.
So she's not no run of the mill. But y'all thoughts on this situation?
I want to take this first, Sister Keish, because y'all in New York, and so hopefully you heard more on the story. I want to relate this to the sister that got beat on in Harlem by that dude, and again, like with Penny, they didn't arrest him, and then subsequently, after some pressure on the DA or whoever, the dude got arrested, and they knew who he was because he's a repeat felon. He's not like, some new guy from Omaha that just breezed in town and then disappeared. So the police knew who he was already when they were on the scene. So relating that to saying how a well-known judge could be basically sexually abused in front of a room full of law enforcement officers, how does that happen? And this man is not in jail at the least at this point, before he even lost his job.
Yeah, but it took 20 months. So he was never put in any
so
position.
He gets pension.
He gets everything. And the thing is, what was interesting is when in the beginning, she says, he asks where you're from, and she doesn't know the particular area. It seemed like the way she was interpreting it as if he thought she was his property. Oh, your family belongs to me. That's what I felt listening to her words. And
you're
that's
still a nigga,
disgusting.
basically.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that was disgusting. And for her to just have to, all those people just standing there. And, I don't know. We don't know what happened in the moment, but what should happen if you had some real brothers around you, not only if you couldn't slap them, somebody would have punched them in the jaw. Someone would have did something in your favor. It sounds like no one has done something in her favor. And,
Well, actually, there was, as she mentioned, a brother who was there, older gentleman. He was the one who actually removed the sheriff's hand from her breast.
That's
so,
right.
But
he's a police officer too, Keisha.
Yes, but in keeping with that, because I don't want our people, and we're going to get to Brother Tad perspective on this, because I want to put it all together. That is just not here, but also abroad. Mm-hmm. Now, here you had a news broadcast where this sister was bringing the point of the resources being stripped on the continent of Africa by these colonizers. And this white man gets up and has a total shit fit. And it's his attitude like, who are you to question me? But check this out, family. Here we go.
And it's a very narrow perspective. That's the most unfortunate part of this.
It's not a perspective. It's a real fact.
Do you care about the starving millions of African people in this country? Do you care about the farm workers who are being oppressed in this country? Do you care about
don't interrupt me. I've finished. Thank you. Bye. Take where the shit. Bye.
Okay.
And you won't dare.
Mr. Vasahi,
You
thank
won't
you very
dare interrupting me
Thank
once
you
more.
very much.
Take away this man.
Thank you very much. Touch me, and you'll be in trouble. Touch me on my studio.
You touched me.
Touch me on my studio. Touch me on my studio.
You touched me.
And
Take away his arm.
touch me on my studio.
Take away his arm from
Touch me on my studio. Touch me on my studio.
I touch you on your studio.
Touch me on my studio.
I touch you on your studio.
You don't do that.
No, don't touch him. Wait.
Let's just go.
Yeah, let's go.
I am not finished with you.
Mr. Vasahi, stop threatening this woman, Mr. Vasahi. I'm telling you, stop it now. Would you stop it now, Mr. Vasahi?
I won't stop it. You try to stop me.
Mr. Vasahi, why are you threatening this poor woman? What has she done to you? She's expressing her views.
She's talking about the capitalist whites. Why do you think?
And it's a very
So you see the arrogance. It's the arrogance of how dare you? You are my property. And that's why that sheriff felt that it was okay for him to grab Judge Hatchett's breast at will. But I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Brother Tad, your thoughts.
I was told that I shouldn't talk about violence on this show. I told Nick kiss my ass. I put hands on people. Then, now, tomorrow, if they act up, I put hands on people. I'm glad the brother stepped up. Because, in fact, we had an incident not too long ago in the workplace where I had to put hands on somebody for constantly touching the sister. She asked him to stop. He wouldn't. I intervened. He tried to get physical. So we got physical. That's what we're supposed to do as men. I think we need to start kicking away this European idea that we can't be violent. And why is it only that we can't be violent and the times we need to be the most violent? When somebody's harming our women and children, they tell us take it to the authorities who give this an approval. Like somebody said in the comments, 7 years is too light for polite. So where's the justice for this 14-year-old girl? You know, which they didn't say that polite brought, you know, we didn't even mention to the people that polite brought her back, battered and beat up. That's what made the mother even go to the police. She's drunk, she's high, her lips busted, she got bruises on her, and skeet marks on her clothes. His semen on her clothes. See, those are instances there in the studio when homie's all up in the sister face. He's like, don't touch me. He should have touched him with his knuckles. We got to start making examples because this is why some sisters, and I'm getting into this and make it real quick, some sisters feel unprotected, but some are protected. I know Sister Keisha don't walk around talking about, I'm not protected. Sister Keisha know how to protect herself. And still got a husband, brothers, such as myself, Blacksmith, blood brothers in the movement that will come to her aid and rescue. And we ain't come to argue with nobody. That's the problem. Don't ever call Tad and you just want to talk. I'm not, you don't call me to argue. That's what women are for. Let them argue. When I come, that's what Dr. Frances Cress Welsing said. She said, it takes male masculine muscles to remove white supremacy. That's it. All this diplomacy, all this trying to be smarter, using big words, that ain't going to help because that ain't what's being used against us. You can't fight fire with fire. You got to fight fire with water. You turn up, I'm going to turn you down. That's it. That's how the game goes. So I'm glad the brother stepped up, but I want to speak about a sister who just went viral for talking about she got hit with a brick, but she lied and said that the black men didn't do anything. That's a lie. You got to get rid of sisters with this negative narrative because that is not the truth. Can't no woman say she been around me and I sit there and watched her get beat up and I didn't help. Unless she deserved to get her ass kicking and not by no dude, maybe by some chicks. But for the most part, it's not going to happen around me. It's just not. Now, if two women fighting, that's something different. I might break it up, might let y'all fight, depending on who it is and the mood I'm in today. Like I said, I'm only human. I'm a work in progress.
There's a contrary.
I'm sorry.
Brother Tad, I'm sorry. There's a contrary story going on about this sister that everything is a lie.
That's what I'm
that
about
none
to say.
of this happened.
And that's my point.
So then it becomes a
That,
bigger situation.
It's the lie, and that's where I was going with it, Sister Marcia, because people are creating this narrative because she's a lesbian, she's a self-proclaimed lesbian, she's a feminist, she hates black men. But then the brothers that were standing there were interviewed, and they said she came to them and said she was hit with a brick. They didn't see her be hit with a brick, but then another brother come back with receipts saying that saline solution she had injected in her face, and she wasn't at the hospital, she was at a clinic. You know, it's only so long you can lie about what happened and who you are. We saw the video of her slap the white dude and just start twerking. That ratchet behavior, but she's crying in her video. She never did anything to anybody to warrant this. And this is the second time she did it because I think she got about $40,000.
That's right, $42,000. $42,000 to perpetuate a lie. And everybody who falls for it.
Right, and that's what I was about to say, sis. I'm glad you my sister, because this is the thing about this narrative, this toxic narrative that's being injected in our community. Those who buy it, because I seen Dr. Umar make a, he always talking, don't know what he's talking about, but he made a comment on this in support of the sister. Now I'm not with that statement, believe all women, because women ain't above lying either. However, we have to start vetting who we support. Just like with Polite, same thing with her. We got to start vetting who we get behind. Yo, if you hit me with a brick, I'm not going live. I'm going to the hospital. I'm calling the police. I'm not going to sit around and try to go viral and then blame people for me getting busted upside the head. Because 9 times out of 10, when I got busted upside the head, it was something that I did. And I own that. These lies that we have, this is the Willie Lynch syndrome. This is Willie Lynch talked about. And some people say Willie Lynch wasn't a real person. Whether he's real or fictitious, the principles are the same. Just like
the story makes sense. So let it ride, because
keep the light against dark, the young against old, male against female, and we can dominate them. Everybody who gives into this narrative, oh, black women don't do this and black men don't do that, and black women don't cook and black men don't protect it. Yo, all that is BS. All of that is BS. And we got to start shaking that narrative as those of us who's supposed to know better. We have to. So we seen that brother step up in the studio and protect our sister. And that's just one of few, because people don't want to show black men in the best light. You'll never see black men portrayed in the best light. I'll even go back to Django. Even in Django, when Django was supposed to be rescuing his girl, he didn't kill the one who kidnapped his girl because that was a powerful man. He was only allowed to kill little bums, the little crackers that meant nothing. But the one he should have killed with power, he wasn't allowed to. Dr. King Schultz had to kill him. Why? Because they can't show a black man
shooting down a white man.
Black men are not supposed to have a position of power. Yeah, you show you killing the poor white trash all day. You kill white trash all day. They just collateral damage in the grand scheme of things of white supremacy.
But once you show power, you gotta.
No, you cannot be viewed as a powerful black man.
And that's why when people was going around about a month and a half ago, when the Alabama stuff popped off, people were saying it was a false flag, a psyop. I'm like, nah. No, they will never show them getting their asses whipped. Never.
We had to do that.
That's right. It was too many.
We had to do that.
You couldn't stop it. As soon as you stop saying, here come another 25 out of nowhere.
And salute to the little brother who swam across there just to get there quick. He said,
that's my son.
Hey, his name is C. Murder. Get his name right.
His name C. Murder. Not to be confused with the rapper. That young brother, because sometimes that's what we have to do. And like you said, Sister Marcia, we showed that. Because the fact is that we don't help each other. We don't stick together.
That's right. We don't show the positive things that we do. We don't show how much we fight. Or even if we do show how much we fight, that stuff ends up falling back to something else because it's not, quote, maybe violent enough. And that was violent enough for them to be like, okay. But I don't know. But there's something that we do so much great work in the community, all of us. And yet we still don't get. And nobody wants accolades. Everybody wants to see the progress of the community. not just our family, but a community. One step, one block, one building, one household, whatever it is, that to move forward. I think that's what we're missing in this whole conversation. And protecting the family, the woman, the daughter, the sister, the auntie, everybody, so that people like Brother Polite cannot infiltrate the community. You know, we can't blame the brothers, we can't blame the sisters, but we do got to blame each other, because somewhere down the line, we did not do our job. And we're just learning.
And those
to
of
do
us
better tomorrow.
No, we know better. We know better because we know it's
But did we do better?
That brought down Dr. King. We know it's COINTELPRO that had Malcolm X murdered. We know better. We know better. But you know what it is? We're lone voices because we do get killed. We do get silenced. We do get locked up. And then they pay these people millions of dollars to give us a Jesse Jackson, to give us an Al Sharpton, to misdirect and mislead the people. And make those.
I'm still waiting on that. I'm calling out all OGs. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. If Sharpton on the block and y'all ain't put hands on him, you a sucker. Because y'all should have been broke his jaw a long time ago. And you can tell him I said it.
Come on,
and it's mad skinny now. I could even do it if I had the opportunity.
Listen, he sits with presidents. You can't touch him. As soon as you go at him, you're gonna have 4 or 5 Secret Service agents coming at you.
That's the problem. I don't care if he sat with Jesus Christ and his white mama. Let me tell you something. Certain people have to be taken off of here. And we've been allowing people to mully around us for far too long. He should have been tapped in the 80s. Absolutely. Like how he's still in the game is beyond me.
I just told you why.
Well,
no,
because again, people fall for the same okie doke, the same way they did Light and the rest of these fools out here. People sound a little good, they do a couple of things, and everybody is, rah for them. Nah, you have to show and prove. And like Brother Taz says, when you're doing community work, I'm sorry, you got to be vetted by people. Who are your peoples? Can I go back to your neighborhood and people vouch for you? Can I go amongst your family and people vouch for you on your character? True story. When we was on talk, a straight black talk, we were talking with inmates in prison. We had live prison calls, okay? A brother made it perfectly clear based on my character of him knowing me. He said this live on the air. If any harm come to Keisha, I will kill you. Without question, I will kill you. Now, I never slept with this dude. We ain't got money together, nothing like that. But it's based on my character and how I operate.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like
that code from before the mid '85.
Right. You gotta have, and a lot of these people who come before us, even ones that we like, who vouching for you? Where your people's at? Can I go back to your block? Can I pull up to any one of your family members and they say you all right? Whether they got an issue with you or not, can they say you all right? I can guarantee you that whether it's on my father's side or my mother's side, from the blocks that I grew up on those that I visit, it's my character that holds me down. Nothing else. Like Brother Taz says, and I feel the same for him. It's a level of respect based on our characters that we have for each other. He, myself, Ashe, the way I feel about you, Brother Black, and Sister Marcia. It's a character thing for me. So again, as we move into the future, and these folks come among you, who vouching for these people? Where they come from? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if you was a goody two shoes or one from the street. I should be able to go back to your neighborhood where you grew up and ask about you. I don't care whether you go to Fort Greene, whether you're in Bed-Stuy, Brownsville, or East New York, ask about my freaking character.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
And these are the neighborhoods that I lived in Brooklyn. I did live in Harlem for a time. Go back on 141st and Edgecombe and ask about my goddamn character. Go to Sugar Hill. Ask them. I don't make this stuff up. So I'm just saying, we have to vet these people properly. We cannot allow charlatans and fake ones to move amongst us because they have a sweet melodic language
Real talk.
and feel good speech. Because feel
Absolutely.
good speech may rally the troop, but it never won a goddamn war ever.
That's a fact.
And that's the word.
That's when you drop the mic right there.
That's the word. That's the word.
On that, we're going to close out and we're going to come back next week in full effect because we didn't get into half of the stuff we were supposed to get into.
The Mexican aliens.
Black ain't go against the Mexican aliens. He ain't put
The
up
Men in Black was a real story. It was a documentary. What are you talking about? The Men in Black was
eyes hitting
everything.
me right here.
All right. So next week, Brother Black is going to start off. He's starting off next week because we didn't even get in. We got to go in on that, Black. So
on the Mexican, on the aliens?
Yeah, the Mexican.
We got to do it next week, Black. You got to do it next week. The people waiting on it.
Speech, so don't get me in trouble over here, Tad.
No.
It ain't us, it's the people.
But Brother Blacksmith, because we really got to tie this in on what we know, right?
Okay.
Because what we was talking about a few weeks ago on how the U.S. officer was speaking to Congress, talking about they have non-human
whistleblower.
So now the Mexico talking about they got them too, and they were saying this is fossilized. They had it a long time ago.
Yeah,
but as
they showed you the picture and everything, right. And that's the same little man that was in Men in Black. Right. Men in Black, when the guy opened up the face and the
those are grays.
Whatever. Right. They showed it to us. And all I'm saying, Men in Black was a documentary, not a movie.
But don't the new artist Nico says the Grays co-sign her? I'm gonna drop the mic on that too, but we're gonna come back next week, family.
Yes.
We get ready to close this out. Brother Black, your final thoughts, and then we move on to Sister Marcia.
Oh man.
Let them know what they should expect next week, Brother Black.
Oh man. Well, I mean, if you want to talk about those supposed entities from out of this world, all of those, I'm just gonna touch on it. All of those, a lot of rural villages in a lot of remote places, including Europe and Asia as well, have always had stories of ancient bones that are like, 30 feet tall and, like no animal you ever seen in your life. Other entities, if you don't want to call them animals, are reappearing that haven't been seen on this earth for 20,000 years. From what I understand, all these disasters, I sent y'all a link earlier, right? Maybe an hour or two before the show about the weather that's going crazy all over the world right now. Earthquake in Morocco, a 6.8, that's huge. And then the floods in Libya, right? They had fires in Greece and then a flood a few days ago. Japan, China, blah blah blah, so on and so
Italy,
forth.
all the wine that's still
in the Rhineland, into Germany as well, a small part of Germany. So there's stuff going on all over the world. And if you want to use the Bible context, we can say that that there will be many situations in diverse places, whatever that saying is. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And it's just crazy right now. So just look for more pandemonium. Y'all supposed to get a storm starting this weekend. The way the models look right now is going to go into Maine and like Boston in that area. So New England and up into Eastern Canada. So watch the weather because that's another way they're doing the war. We know Lahaina was drones shooting down direct energy weapons and all that. So most of this stuff is on purpose. That's what we should look forward to next week when I get my little say. I'm not going to hog the mic too much. We already over 2 hours. Peace and love, y'all. Blacksmith.
Sister Marcia, your final thoughts.
Well, thank you for another fabulous show. And like Nico said,
Keisha sent me a link about 2 months ago before she was really popping.
Well, listen, whatever she is, I do enjoy the melody. It does bring you to a nice little state if you're thinking. But everyone, please sturdy up our community. It is all of our responsibility. Brother Taz, Sister Keisha, they told you about interactions that they had. And it is valid that we must be better discerners of what we want to see our community to look like. And I just want us to be whatever we could be, and may time flourish for us all because we deserve it. Brother Tad?
Well, I want to say I'm glad I got to go to Hawaii before they decided to burn it down. Thank you for that. I mean,
the universe.
Right? But I'm definitely glad to be back. I'm glad we could share this information. Though we had some lighthearted jokes, you know, we do take this very serious, the stuff we do. But you got to laugh to keep from crying because this is a serious situation we're dealing with. But I don't want you to get so caught up into what's happening with us that you forget to enjoy life. You forget to enjoy the day-to-day. You forget to enjoy your loved ones. And just the fact that you have life. So find the beauty in that. Find the beauty in your blackness. Love us. Love your people. Love yourself. Let's love each other, because that's definitely at the end of the day is why we do this. We don't do this for revenge. We don't do this for money. We do this out of sheer love for ourselves, our people, our family, and our community. So hopefully you're inspired by something you heard today, and it's your turn to go out and inspire others. So y'all stay up, stay blessed, stay true, and remember, no matter how hard things may seem right now, there's always better days ahead. Sister Keisha.
Peace.
We thank y'all for tuning in with us for another Black Throwback Thursday. Come back next week. We continue to go in because, you know, you can see Brother Ty, he's still mad. He's still mad, boy. So he got to get it out.
I really want to just run around and beat on these fake leaders, but
facts, me and you both. But as we continue to celebrate our music, our culture, this video came across my timeline, and I'm going to try to do this every week if I can, of this little toddler who is enjoying him some James Brown. Now, you know, when children feel music, they feel music. You got to see this little boy's energy here. And, you know, we'll see y'all Black again next Thursday. Let's close out with this young man. Here we go. Good night, y'all. We out.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Feeling it in his heart. Ow!
Beautiful.
But we out, y'all. We love y'all. Stay Black. See y'all next week.
Family.